Gent saw. Funny name, isn't it? Well, the story relates to that wonderful class system in Britain, where in the 18th century you had gentlemen hobbyist woodworkers who couldn't dare look anything like they were a lowly tradesperson. So they had other saws which were for gents. And here it is, this is the gent saw. So instead of having a handle like this, we have a handle like this. These gent saws are fantastic because they have a very, very fine tooth. So whenever you need a really fine cut, this is the beastie to go for. If I was to cut my miters with a tenon saw, the teeth are too coarse. I'll just make a hash of it. So I want this to be really crisp and clean. A really useful jig to be able to use my gent saw for that, I've just knocked up out of some scrap in the workshop. Pretty simple really. 2 bits of wood in here, glued and pinned on, and then I set the angles that I want, so we've got 45 degrees both directions, and away we go. So the saw, I've got the curves already set up when I made it. I put those into it, I just cut it with the saw, and it just works brilliantly. You can put this in a vise, but if you've got long sticks, there's no support for it. You can also plug it onto the bench. If I'm on a building site and I'm fitting beading around a joinery door or something for glazing, then I would just stick this on the top of my tall sawhorse. And away we go. So I'll just grab my hammer, give that one of those in there, one of those in there. That's going to work nicely. Okay. So, because I've got this angle set up, I'll have had this marked where I want it to be cut. So I'll come in here, and the trick about using these saws is keeping that pointy finger out there. So I've got nice balance, and as with all saws, my eye is looking over the top, so I'm looking both sides of the saw at the same time. Now, like all Western saws, this one cuts when you push. Beautiful. So we've got a really nice clean cut here. So if I cut his mate going the other direction, I'll come around here. There we go. So what that gives me is a beautiful, really clean joint in the corner. And it's just so simple to use the jig with that very fine saw just for cutting the miters for bead and trim. I love using the gent saw for cutting my dovetails. I cut all my dovetails by hand, and these are fantastic for this job. As always, got to get your body in the right place so that it works well. I'm using that finger as my guide. Away we go. Now, my personal preference with these, if I just used it only for dovetailing, I would get a stone and just take a little bit of that set off the outside. So I'll grab one of these nice Kirshen slipstones, which are really handy in the workshop. Just going to grab that fine side, sit it flat right here. I'm going to just draw the stone back and forth a few times like that. It's just helping to take some of that aggressive set off the side. With dovetailing, it just gives you a tighter curve, which is a really good thing. So that's my personal preference, is if it's just set up as a dovetailing saw, reduce the set a little bit, because that's going to give me a much tighter curve. And that's good if you're a good shot, because the curve, that wider curve, enables you to steer the saw. When you reduce the curve, you don't have that option, so you just go dead straight right from the beginning. That's a nice little saw for that sort of job. Very handy, small joints. You want to do saw cuts in pieces, making box components or anything. You want really fine teeth. That's what we're looking for, the really fine teeth. So yeah, it's a good thing the gent saw. Maybe I'm a bit of a gent anyway.